Daniel Jeremiah releases his mock draft 1.0. Let's take a look at who he has the Jets selecting and mock the mock. Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I really enjoy this series. This is where we take a look at every mock draft from some of the prominent people out there in the NFL and break down who they have the Jets selecting. I feel like it's a really fun exercise to do to get a grade on where you think some of these players are going to go, as well as just learn about the players as you go throughout the offseason. Anyway, Daniel Jeremiah is very close friends with Joe Douglas. They had some overlap in Baltimore, so I think you're going to see a little bit of insight when it comes to the Daniel Jeremiah selections when it comes to the New York Jets. But let's move on to it. Let's go through this mock draft. We'll go through the first few picks until we get up to the Jets pick. So right now, they have the Bears starting off with defensive tackle Jalen Carter. This has me a little surprised. I would have thought maybe they'd go edge rusher. Now, Carter can absolutely be the top guy in this draft. But for me, there's too much value in that number one pick for the Bears to just make a selection and not trade it out. I mean, when you're looking at the Texans sitting at 2 and the Colts, a division rival, sitting at the 4th pick, you can pin them against one another just like the Colts did to the Jets and the Bills the same year the Darnold Allen draft was going on when there was that arms race for the Jets to get up. Houston and Indianapolis will be bidding against one another to get that number one overall seed, and Chicago's going to really benefit from them. If I were them, I would look to move down with the Texans, pick up their number 12 pick. They'd actually be one slot in front of the New York Jets, and then they'd only slide back one pick, still get the top non-quarterback, and then allow Houston to get their quarterback as well. So something to keep in mind. I do think Bryce Young is going to wind up being the top quarterback. He goes number 2 to the Texans. I think this makes a lot of sense whenever you have the Alabama guy up at the top. I feel like more times than not, you can kind of go with them and not be overly concerned. Arizona Cardinals, Will Anderson, top edge out of Alabama. That's where I thought the Bears were going to go. Again, Cardinals, I could definitely see this pick. It would not shock me if the Cardinals decide to tank the 2023 campaign and actually look to move down from this selection to try and get a team to jump the Colts, because I don't know if the Cardinals fully believe in Kyler Murray, and with his ACL tear, I could see them bottoming out next year and making like a really big trade after he proves that he's healthy on the tail end of the season. So it wouldn't shock me if they looked for more picks in 2024 as opposed to the 2023 draft, just to kind of make sure they try to get that number one overall pick. Just a guess. No, nothing to that really. Colts taking Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. I think that makes a ton of sense. Tyree Wilson, the edge out of Texas Tech, goes to the Seattle Seahawks, which is absolutely crazy considering you were just in the playoffs and now have a top 5 pick because of the trade you made with your quarterback. Oh, Denver's got to be kicking themselves right now. You got the cornerback Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois going to Detroit. Vegas goes with Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle out of Northwestern. He is considered the top tackle in this draft, and I would imagine if you see the Raiders going this direction, I think Jeremiah has an idea that the Raiders are probably going after a veteran quarterback in free agency, whether that be Jimmy Garoppolo or Tom Brady. I've kind of speculated Tom Brady plus Gronkowski, which means making an offensive tackle your top pick, so that way you could push to go for a Super Bowl in the final year of Brady's career. Makes a lot of sense for them here, but that would mean they're going the vet quarterback route. The Falcons take Lucas Van Ness, the edge from Iowa. Carolina goes with the quarterback, C.J. Stroud. I feel like that's way too far down for Stroud. Like, it would not shock me if Stroud wound up being the best of the 3 quarterbacks here. For him to fall to 9 with the Panthers, I still think he's going to be the second guy off the board, but the Panthers get their quarterback. Can't really be shocked with this. Sam Darnold's not under contract. Baker Mayfield got traded away, and you're probably not running it back with P.J. Walker. Eagles up at the top. This was the trade with the Saints. They wind up getting Myles Murphy, the edge out of Clemson, which is terrifying. I don't know where their front 4 currently stands. I think Bennett is pretty old, so this might be a replacement for him, but their front 4 is filthy. So if you're swapping out an older dude with some fresh legs, scary. Tennessee Titans, Paris Johnson. This is the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. So 2 tackles going before the Jets pick at number 13, and there's really 3 that kind of look like they could be the top of the group here. Paris Johnson, the guy out of Ohio State. I really like him. He would be my first option for tackle, I think. So hopefully Tennessee doesn't wind up making this selection here and they go a different direction, because I want options when we get to that number 13 pick. They have the Texans selecting Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State. This is interesting because they're going to pair him with the number 2 overall, or number 3 overall? Number 3 overall pick from last year's draft, Derek Stingley Jr. They're looking to build a pretty stout secondary, I guess, is what Jeremiah's kind of thinking here. And then obviously he has the New York Jets going with Broderick Jones, the tackle out of Georgia. He makes a note. Jones is very athletic and powerful. He can create movement in the run game, and his ability to recover in pass protection is impressive. The Jets need to keep throwing resources at the offensive line. So I want to take a look at Broderick Jones a little bit closer. I did have Broderick Jones in my mock draft. I had him going number 13 overall to the New York Jets, and it just seems to make a ton of sense given the weaknesses on our team. The Jets are hoping one of these top 3 tackles fall to us, and I think you're going to get one of them. But like I said, that situation where the Bears trade down with the Texans, the Bears wind up maybe with that 12th overall pick that the Texans currently have, and maybe they wind up taking that 3rd tackle just in front of the New York Jets. So it's something to monitor. It's definitely a little alarming because I thought for sure the Jets would get one of these top 3, but there is a very realistic situation where all 3 could be gone before the 13th pick, and the Jets are just kind of left there holding their you-know-whats. As far as his strengths, they have listed 5-star recruit out of high school, the 2022 All-SEC first team. He's a very cerebral player. He's quick to react to stunts and twists. Crazy speed for an offensive tackle. They actually call him like tight end level speed. This guy's like super lean for what a tackle looks like. High level of flexibility. He can bend and twist his body a little bit. And he's actually got some positional flexibility. He actually started at right tackle. There's some people on some of the draft forums that have kind of looked at that believe maybe he'd be better suited on the right-hand side or possibly kicking into guard, which means to me that positional flexibility is pretty important. As far as his weaknesses are listed as gets caught reaching and lunging, needs to consistently move his feet, only has 22 starts in his college career, overly aggressive at times, and needs to work on his leverage off the snap. So what they're saying there is he's a little too flat-footed. He doesn't keep chopping his feet, so he winds up getting caught sometimes. As far as his scouting profile, from NFL Draft Buzz, they say Broderick Jones is probably the best athlete in this entire offensive line class. He is very strong, has elite core strength, cat-like quickness, and has the speed of a tight end. His upside is huge as a pass blocker. However, he isn't nearly as good as a run blocker, where he has struggled a little. This is most likely due to the fact that he hasn't played much as you would like. As a result, looks a little raw technically. Overall, Jones is a top-level prospect with serious potential to be a dominant pro player. He'll be a first-round selection in the 2023 draft. So, obviously, with the Jets having an injured Mekhi Becton, a 38-year-old Dwayne Brown, you don't know what's going to happen with the left tackle side of things. On the right-hand side, I don't think they're bringing George Fant back. You have Max Mitchell, and that is it. Outside of that, you have AVT, who has played tackle, so you need to bring in a top tackle in this draft, especially someone with positional flexibility. And worst case scenario, if you had to kick this dude into guard at some point to make up for Laken Tomlinson, at least you're giving yourself enough movable pieces. They want to put the best 5 offensive linemen out on the field at the same time. And I think having a highly athletic guy that has actually been compared to DeBrickashaw Ferguson based on his frame, I guess. Look, I'm all about this. This is a good pick for the New York Jets. He stands at 6'4" as far as his height, and he's listed as 310 pounds. So you're talking 60 pounds lighter than the big ticket in Mekhi Becton. So guys, let me know your thoughts on Broderick Jones. Is this the pick you want to make based on how the first 12 picks in this draft went? Was there another player you think the Jets should have looked at? Do you think there's an option for the Jets to trade up or down? Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, go Jets.